Hey Lunartics, these readings are for anyone who identifies as or is drawn to Aries energy at the end of November 2018. Specifically, we are looking at this last week, the 23rd and 4th to the 30th. And because your reading is so late in the month, even past the full moon, Aries, I am going to do 2 readings for you. The first will allow whatever messages need to come through, and then the second reading will narrow our focus down to our or your love lives, Aries. I'm sorry, so much adjusting. I want you to be able to see the cards with me just a little bit. And it's just not really going to be possible, but I will show them to you. So we will start now by seeing what the beginning of November has been like for you, Aries, and what the full moon in Gemini has offered you so far. Of course, as I said, you know, these readings can be for cross watchers as well. As I said, it could be someone who's drawn to Aries energy for any reason. So maybe because you're cross watching, or possibly because you know, it's your sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, or just an energy that you want to call in. And to begin with, at this time, currently, you are represented by the Ace of Cups, Aries. Experiencing an indication that you are experiencing finding that you have the opportunity currently for true happiness, that you are sharing intensely with someone, or maybe a lot of people. Perhaps that you have a new love that you have just started to explore, whether it's with a person or not. As I said, the second reading will narrow the focus down to your love lives, but that's not to say that this first reading can't speak to your love life. It's different for each Aries. I mean, it's different for all of you. Some of you, it's a new love in terms of a passion project that you're working on, or a skill that you're just now developing, something that you've a craft you've fallen in love with doing. It definitely, whatever this Ace of Cups represents, it definitely is something or someone you have an intense, either new or renewed love for. And that needs to be noted. It can be renewed love with someone as well, for someone. But it does require you sharing a very real, vulnerable piece of yourself, Aries, with someone. Maybe just one other someone, or as I said, it might be an activity that you're finding you love doing and you're sharing it with lots of people. Who or whatever the new love in your life is this week, Aries, it is right on time, fated to be, meant to be, especially if there are synchronicities surrounding it and it feels that way to you already. The Wheel of Fortune is showing up in your subconscious. So this is something that this would be something that you know already. If you already have that deep feeling that this person is supposed to be in your life at this time, or you're supposed to be doing what it is that you're loving to do at this time, then you are correct. Trust that feeling that some part of you subconsciously knows. Maybe it's just something that you are communicating to your conscious through your dreams, or But whatever you're doing or whomever you're with, or possibly both, you feel like it's very fated. So moving through, again, I'm sorry that you can't see these. Moving through the first part of November 2018, Aries, you have been in this Page of Pentacles energy. So you've been studying something, learning something, maybe lessons that have to do with your work, your career, your finances, or perhaps lessons in any other area of your life, your relationships, etc. But this is a scholar, normally to me, a scholar, a student. And I think you've been trying to build a sense of security for yourself in some way, shape, or form. And again, either because of your work or relationships or both, there have been a lot of messages coming in this month regarding that security. Yeah, you have the Page of Pentacles as representing the first part of November, the Page of Swords as your energy moving into the full moon in Gemini, and then the Page of Wands on the bottom of the deck as I'm talking about it. So messages are very significant for you in general this month. There's just a lot of communication coming in. And with Mercury retrograde, it's probably unclear communication. Moving into the Gemini full moon, you may have had an argument with someone, or just had some immature communication between you and others or another. It's like the Page of Swords reverse energy is telling me that as you moved into the Gemini full moon, so just yesterday, the day before, the days before, you were, you had a hold of a truth of yours, maybe how you did or didn't feel about someone, for example, or what you wanted to do with any given amount of your time and energy, and it was a harsh truth, probably for others, maybe for you to wield, maybe a harsh truth for you to just own and hold on to, but certainly I think it was harsh in terms of other people didn't want to hear it. This other person didn't want to hear how you did or didn't feel about them, or these other people didn't want to hear that you weren't going to spend your time and energy the way they wanted you to, something like that. And you had to communicate your truth. And those are just examples, whatever, you had a hold of some truth that needed to be communicated, and there wasn't really an easy way to do it, or it didn't come off in a good way. It ended up resulted in some immature and or harsh communication ultimately. But as I said, that was just sort of very likely to happen, because it looks like for the Aries that this message is for, you have so many messages coming in this month. Messages about something or someone that you feel very excited and passionate about. Messages about your security, your finances, your money, maybe your education or whatever you're learning currently. Messages from, and then plus from others, from, I don't know, family, friends, whomever this harsh and immature communication happened with. So with so much, with so many words going in and coming in and going out at a time when Mercury is going retrograde, you were bound to, the odds were that some of it was going to end up being immature, harsh, and if it was right around the full moon, for some of you it may have had to do with someone drinking right around that time. Not necessarily you. It's just something that happens around the full moon for us, for a lot of people. So let's see. Aries, let's see if this week ending at November 2018, let's go ahead and look at your weakness or challenge. Someone from your past, perhaps, that you have fond memories with, of. You're feeling nostalgic for a time of maybe someone or something. And it's presenting as a challenge or a weakness at a time when you have a new or renewed love that on a subconscious level you feel, and I believe know, is fated. So for some Aries, there's possibly the path here. For some Aries, there's a message about you having an opportunity for happiness with a new love in your life. Again, whether it's actually a new person or just a new activity. Okay, so for a few Aries, you've got that opportunity for happiness, that new love, and yet there's someone from your past that is a challenge to this timely new love. That's just for a few Aries, and I'm not going to expand on that a whole lot more here, I don't think, because I think that would be a message that would then come through in more clearly in the love life reading. But with all of these pages, with 3 pages showing up and the Ace of Cups covering you, I definitely think it's actually talking about, for most Aries, an opportunity to share intensely. So deeply with one or a few people, or to share a significant parts of yourself with lots of people. One or the other or both, is in your subconscious. You believe that opportunity that you have to share intensely, in whatever way that you're sharing intensely, is fated. And again, I believe that is fated. And it's also, it represents sharing intensely, and it is also, I believe, for most of you, it is an opportunity for true happiness for you. It probably is a type of work that you're doing, but again, dual message here. For others, it's sharing deeply and intensely with one or a few people, or one romantic love in particular. Again, I think that the love life reading would then expand on that more. And during a Mercury retrograde, Aries, and it's almost like for some of you, what's happening here is, because you've had so much communication with so many different people about so many different things, and so many messages incoming and outgoing, and you're busy with communication. You're busy trying to get back to people. And then just recently, in the very recent past, you've experienced this miscommunication or misunderstanding in your communications that makes you think that you know, need to reevaluate how you're handling the Mercury retrograde maybe, or just get away from so much back-to-back rushed, hectic communication for a minute. But then you have this weakness, this challenge of this person from your past that you have fond memories with. And whether there's someone new in your life or not, whether we're talking about romantic connections or not, I think that person, or whatever people or person you have fond memories for, is presenting as a challenge because you can't help but communicate with them, even though it does have to be rushed, and it may be then ultimately miscommunications. I get the sense that you know that, Aries, and so you don't want to communicate with them, but it's like you can't help it. You have to for whatever reason. Okay. Excuse me, I'm still perfecting exactly how I want this spread. It's not like you can, unfortunately, it's not as if you can see what I'm doing anyway. But a little bit there. So your fears then, okay, so your fears then, I think, are of those miscommunications happening again. Harsh, immature, rushed, you know, you being misunderstood. Then in that type of in and through that type of miscommunication, you don't want that to happen again. You don't want this person or these people that you have these memories with that are pushing you to communicate at a time when you know it may be best not to. You don't want them to be pulling the wool over your eyes. You don't want them to be purposefully miscommunicating. And a lot of you may be even taking into consideration that if you were to interpret something that they said as them trying to mislead you intentionally, you may just be seeing where they're unable to communicate clearly with you at this time, and it just creates so much confusion and questioning that you really don't want to well, you're afraid of facing. Some of you may be hoping for a specific outcome in the near future with a significant Leo energy in your life, or you may be hoping for guidance from a significant Leo energy in your life, Aries. You may be hoping to tame whatever part of you can't resist communicating with this person or these people. From your past, that you don't want to fight with, or fight with again, that you don't want to miscommunicate with. And then in your, I don't see exactly how, Aries, but overall, what this is headed toward is stuck energy, and then, you know, a completion, a possibly painful final ending to something that I don't realize I'm describing here yet, at least in your December. In December, that's what we're moving toward, is that Ten of Swords energy. So something is coming to a painful ending. Or it could be the ending could be painful, maybe, often as with the Ten of Swords, especially in the Deviant Moon Tarot's depiction here, but often, but also it can be that the cycle you were stuck in was negative and painful, and it's an ending to a negative, painful cycle. It's usually both, honestly. But see, in your near future, you have the Six of Swords reverse, which is stuck energy to me, and then followed up at the beginning of December with the Tower in reverse. This can be rebuilding, but immediately following the Six of Swords, I just really feel stuck energy, and then this ending by the end of December. And you're hoping for supported by, rather, a King of Wands energy, a mature, masculine, fire energy. This may be yourself, your own, looking at the Page of Pentacles and the way I describe the Ace of Cups, your own natural ability to be an entrepreneur, perhaps, because it does look like a lot of you have been receiving messages about your security and or learning something this month, focused on studying something, and or, you know, again, in a lot of communication about your security, your finances, your resources, your knowledge. And then you have this new love. For a lot of you, it very well could be that your strength here is taking that knowledge and taking that love, and then turning whatever you've been studying and really falling in love with into a work of some kind for yourself. Or there is this Leo energy around you that you're hoping to get guidance from, and they are a great support to you. It may be in more ways than one. Or any mature masculine fire sign that is perhaps outside of yourself and not just an energy in your own chart. Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Let's see what this stuck energy. Let's get one clarifier. It's another 6, the 6 of Pentacles, which is underneath the 10 of Swords here on the bottom of the deck as well. So 666 may be particularly significant to you this month, Aries. And I want to clarify on the Tower in reverse as well. And it's another 6, so correction, 6666 may be particularly significant to you. And it's the 6 of Cups, your weakness, your challenge, clarifying what moving into December looks like for you. So come the beginning of December, you may be trying to make some attempt to rebuild something with this, with a pleasant energy from your past, or someone that you do have fond, pleasant memories with and of again. Or maybe a group of people, maybe someone, maybe a home that you used to live in. But it looks like going into December, you may try to rebuild with that person or those people, or in that area, at that place that you're having fond memories of. As the best I can see, as clear as I can see this right now, Aries, without spending too much more time on it, as we are almost 30 minutes in, and I do want to do that second reading for you. As best as I can see, this person or these people would probably be a weakness currently this week, because you are trying to focus on whatever you're falling in love with right now, a part of yourself, something you're doing, someone new, or someone from your past, and there's this energy that you have fond memories of distracting you, or again asking for a lot of your communication at a time when you know it can't or won't be its clearest. And when you yourself are a little afraid of misunderstanding and being misunderstood. The moon card always reminds me that there is divinity in distortion, Aries, but showing up as your fear. Some Aries, some of you are very aware right now, of the fact that you can't see the way ahead clearly. And that's why a lot of you are hoping for strength. A lot of you are literally praying for strength, because you cannot, you can feel and sense on a subconscious level that, as I said, the beauty, the love that's apparent in your life this week is on time, fated, and meant to be. And it's really, while you can sense that it seems to be meant for you, you can't really see the way forward clearly currently. And it's whereas Aries, you normally would just act anyway, right now you're really aware of that you are going to have to take your next step without really knowing for sure where it should be, or how it should be taken. And that's something that comes very naturally to you, Aries. Normally, you just hop to the next stone. You just go, you just do, you just move. And astrologically speaking, there is probably likely a reason why that you could find at this time that you're not, that energy instead is replaced with you being super hyper aware of the fact that you don't really know how or where you should take your next step, that you have to rely on unseen forces to guide you. Again, I think that's why a lot of you are hoping for strength, and that's why a strength is showing up as King of Wands, because the King of Wands could just represent you leaning into your natural tendency, and the habit and pattern that you have already luckily helpfully formed of just hopping to the next stone, as I put it, just moving forward because you can and believe you should, rather than questioning why or how. Leaning into that could help you now, because again, it's something that is just in your nature, and there's just some reason right now, different for each of you, but again, probably something you could find in your chart, explained in astrology too. There's just some reason why instead you're more reflective, you're questioning what you're doing more, you're more aware. Probably what it will come to feel like for you once you move out of this energy is that you're too aware of what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it as you are going about it, and too aware of this intense and exciting but intimidating feeling that what you're experiencing is for you and meant to be. And probably too a lot of the nervous, anxious energy that you feel welling up behind that, and right alongside with that love and excitement and enthusiasm, is the truth that it is headed toward an intense, necessary ending. Let's get a clarifier on what that ending is coming up in December for you as well. Again, by the end of December, at least, I would say. The Death card shows. So, like I said, it's a necessary ending. It's probably going to be painful. The cycle that it is bringing an ending to certainly was painful, and it's necessary because you are going to be regenerating, transforming, shedding the space, skin, people, energies, ways, habits, something that felt like it might always be a part of you, but that no longer fits. Whatever it is that no longer fits. By the end of December, you're going to shake it off. And I mean, it's the time when we like to do that, right? We set intentions for the new year. We have I can't even, New Year's resolutions. We set our New Year's resolution intentions, and we I think all celebrate so heartily and so hard because we love this fresh chance. It's not just a new day, it's a whole new year. We can be a whole new person. We have that permission every millisecond that we're alive, right? We can always make that choice to be a whole new person, but there's something about the rush of energy at the new year and everyone's belief in its power and all its celebrating and joining together, where we just have decided that that's a particularly potent moment for completely transforming and being someone new and trying a new way. And it makes sense for logistical reasons too. It's a new year. I can make new decisions and go a new path, sure. And you're wrapping up things that, wrapping up everything, you know, for the start of a new year, but certainly things that you don't want to take with you into the new year, right? And some of those things for you, it looks like were just very, very painful to get through, probably throughout the whole year, not just this last month. And maybe you've known that this ending was coming. It has something to do with you deserving or needing a different give and take in your life. The Six of Pentacles shows twice for us, both in the Radiant Rider-Waite and the Deviant Moon Tarot. Maybe something to do with balancing out your emotions and your practicality. Needing to be patient with and find forgiveness for someone else, for some of you. Different for different Aries, really, what this ending is for. But it requires you to shed something that feels like a part of you. Someone, somewhere, some way of yours. So for some, I have to say, for some Aries, and we are well past what I wanted to spend on this again, but for some Aries, you very well may try to resurrect or rebuild really, something from your past with a person or a group of people from your past, and it doesn't work. You find that there's a reason why those people or that person was a part of had become a part of your past, and this is sort of a last attempt to rebuild things with them, and when it doesn't work, there is this ending, this final painful ending, and realization that the way forward is to shed these energies that do not fit with you any longer. That's just for some, though. For others, it's on the flip side. In order to rebuild with these energies or this particular specific energy, there are other things in your life, other people, ways, places, habits, patterns that have to be shed so that you can do this rebuilding. So let's get a couple pieces of advice, right? Mars is in Pisces, which I'm sure you know. So a lot of the reason that's a lot of why things seem so unclear to you. Your direction, your way forward seems unclear. And a lot of why you're fearing that you can't see the way forward. That may be what's coming to a painful ending for some of you. Because, you'll need to, at the very least, come into this understanding of that fact that, Mars is in Pisces, and that's really affecting a lot of you. It's a new and unfamiliar foreign energy to you. And I think I already described what it's translating like for some of you, and that, you feel like you're just too aware of why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing what you're doing, whereas you would normally just act. And I think it's less that you're really questioning yourself, and it's more that you just don't want to make a decision, and you want to play around in your options and your fantasies and your daydreams, and that's giving you time to ask questions that you normally wouldn't. So that may be worth noting. It's really the moon showing up as what you're fearing, I think, really is representing Pisces energy, because then you have the Hangman as the clarification card on the moon there. It's Pisces energy that you're fearing. So some of you are a Pisces energy close to you. Some of you are specifically dealing with Pisces energy in your own chart. Some of you are needing to learn more about, just understand and embrace more about the fact that Mars being in Pisces is having this effect on you right now. And again, yeah, I do think that's why a lot of you are hoping for strength. So I said advice, and I do want advice. First of all, the only way out is through. And I want to show you this with these again. You can step into a healing energy after your rebirth. The ending is going to be painful. The way forward is going to be painful. Shedding that which you thought might always be a part of you, maybe for a lot of you hoped would always be a part of you in your life. Admitting that it isn't actually a piece of you. It can't even stay with you. We can't choose what stays and what fades away. So it may be a little while, like into 2019, into January, before you really feel like you're healing. because I can't say that the ending or the way forward will be painless. It will probably be very painful. And yet the only way out is through. So you have to go through that painful ending, that painful rebirth. And then there's this beautiful healing energy coming at the beginning of next year. And it's just one of those situations where the only way out is through. And then we will ask for a piece of advice from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot as well. It will be give us some advice, and then it will also be a unifying message for us. So we had the Two of Cups upright, and now we have the Two of Cups reversed. On the bottom of this deck, and the Two of Cups upright underneath of here. For some of you, this is about a partnership, even a romantic partnership that you're weighing out, thinking about from your past, that you're evaluating the give and take within. So again, we'll see if more about that comes through in the second reading. And I want to read straight from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot about thought for us. It did show up in its blocked position. I really feel like I already know what this is about for you, Aries, in that space where you have more time to question and overthink. You may be doing too much of that, and that's why this Piscean energy is sort of scary for some of you, or showing up in the fear position anyway in the spread. Wow. There is just so much to this guidebook. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find where I'm at. Okay. So in its blocked position, thought. Sometimes we know why we think as we do. We have experienced a moment or many thoughts or many moments that are the foundation of the thoughts within our head, and we can work to lessen any negative impact they may have upon our lives. However, there are also times when we do not know why we have the thoughts that we do. They are just there. Are they the result of exposure to a media-driven society that runs on negative comparisons? Or is it the voice in our head that that of our parents or other influential family members? Sometimes we do not understand the unconscious thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that give rise to a harsh, critical, judgmental, or doubtful voice in our head, especially when we have led what we believe to be a happy life. The thought card reverse symbolizes the need to question negative and critical mind speak when it arises. Ask yourself why you are thinking the thoughts that fill your mind and create the chatter. If the thoughts revolve around you, try asking yourself these questions. Are the thoughts valid? Do they have foundation? If so, it might be time to look inwards to determine why you are having them. If the chatter in your mind is harsh and critical or fearful and doubting, it will affect how you move through your life. It may even prevent you from achieving the outcomes you most desire. Affirmations, joyful activity, positive social environment can be beneficial, of course. It is quite challenging to banish negative critical mind speak while surrounded by friends and family who encourage or feed negativity. You know, keep that in mind too. If the holiday season, being around people that you have no choice but to be around are possibly influencing and encouraging unwanted thoughts, you know, keep in mind that at least that you know where they're stemming from, where they're coming from. It may be that the only way to find our way back to a healthy, positive mind speak is to limit our exposure to those who focus on the negative, to, you know, as much as we can, right? listen to the truest nature of your thoughts. So, you know, when they're not yours, you can just let them pass by like clouds, right? It's just a thought you had. It doesn't have to be one you hold on to. And then finally, this description says, ask yourself whether your thoughts are welcome or if they need to change. Listen closely to what your inner voice says to you and about you, and know that the very thoughts behind the chatter have the power to shape your reality. That's exactly what they're doing. So I hope that helped, Aries. I hope it offered you something that you didn't have when you came to the reading, and we will move on to a love life reading for you more specifically. Again, also for the end of November 2018, and we will pull a card or two to look at we will pull a card or two to look into December as well. I'm sure it's been significant for everyone that Venus is now direct, has just recently gone direct in Libra. That happened right after Mars moved into Pisces, which your reading indicated you've clearly been dealing with. And right alongside Mercury going retrograde, which I am obviously dealing with. I'm sure we all are. In some way, right? So we will use, I'm going to use the Radiant Rider-Waite again for the love reading, Aries, for your love reading. And give Dreams of Gaia a shuffle, because we will get the unifying message and some extra advice from this deck again. Okay, so I know we have to be like 45 plus minutes in, but quickly. I swear I'm going to start making these more concise eventually. Okay. So messages for your love life, Aries. The last week of November 2018. Let's see where we can put these for you. Just barely, huh? I see expedited progress in your love life. Again, that could be talking about fast communication, as showed in your first reading. There definitely may be a significant earth energy. Likely this message is for Aries who are dealing with a significant mature feminine earth energy. Earth energies are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, but that earth energy may be where their Venus is placed, or they may just be someone who embodies earth sign qualities, a mother, a teacher, or Queen of Pentacles qualities here, a mother, a teacher, someone who's creative yet practical, someone crafty, someone who is probably good at managing her or his resources. Again, I think it's a mature and feminine energy, but a man can be in his feminine energy at any given time. So this is showing up in the position of, are you dealing with anyone, and if so, who? And So yeah, I definitely see this message being particularly significant for Aries who are wondering about mature feminine energy who embodies earth sign qualities or is represented by one of those earth signs to you. And there is some expedited progress with them. That could be that rushed communication. And I do see the interaction headed toward a healing space in the near future. So by the end of the month and moving into December, there is this this healing, this relief from anxiety. Oops. Can't hold on to anything. Go figure. You have the Two of Pentacles in the reverse as what you know when your ego is quiet in your current crowning thoughts, Aries. So it's as if you're stalling. Maybe some of you are stalling on communicating with this earth energy because, as showed in your first reading, you are afraid of miscommunications at this time. Possibly that's one message. There are many. Okay, so for some reason, I think this Gemini full moon that we are still experiencing, right? It was on the late on the 22nd or early on the 23rd. And those energies from a full moon last for a few days afterward, right? So for some reason, that is sort of highlighting and intensifying your reaction to Mars in Pisces. And so once we get past these full moon energies, it will alleviate some of the anxieties that I think we talked about, that I think that we saw in the first reading already. You know, I think we already talked about it. We already knew that from the first reading that you've been experiencing. For some of you, Aries, you've made expedited progress toward this Queen of Pentacles, this mature, feminine, earthy energy, either in partnering or in becoming that energy. For a few of you, it's becoming that energy yourself. You have some significant earth in your chart, etc. But for some of you, as I said, there are many different messages. For some of you, you've made expedited progress toward being with or being like that Queen of Pentacles energy because you were making an effort to quickly move away from a toxic connection or a Capricorn. Possibly a codependent situation, some sort of unhealthy attachment that you were entangled in. And that may be why we're seeing this stalling in your crowning thoughts. When your ego is quiet, you know that you are stalling in between these two energies, maybe progressing from this addiction or toxic behavior pattern partnership to this more grounded, practical partner, person, choice energy. It's the Two of Pentacles is certainly speaking to an imbalance as well that you're aware of. Maybe with this Queen of Pentacles energy, but I get the feeling that it's not her that's imbalanced, because she's showing up center of the reading upright, right next to expedited progress and healing. So I definitely need some clarification on this reading, Aries. Let me grab the Spirit Song Tarot deck and see what else we can find out. You may be, you know, stalling and progressing toward this energy that would prove to be a very healing one for you for some reason. By the end of December, moving through December, and by the end of the month, you're looking at the Seven of Wands energy, standing up for your beliefs. I'm feeling, you know, standing up for what you need, what you're wanting, maybe in a partnership, since this is your love life reading. Your advice here is the Five of Pentacles, an energy of loss, lack, two people being alone together. I think the message is, the advice is to search for good vibes, maybe as simplistically as, you know, search for that in a partner, in a partnership. Ultimately, that's what you end up wanting, someone that you don't feel alone with when the two of you are together. These two are seeking support, and oftentimes the Five of Pentacles speaks of seeking a support that's right around you that you're not noticing. So that could be your advice, is that there is support in your current love life situation to be had that you're not seeing. But as I said, the Two of Pentacles, what's on your mind when your ego is quiet, is definitely for a lot of you an awareness of an imbalance, because an imbalance is also what all of this is rooted in, with the Temperance card in reverse. A lack of forgiveness. A lack of patience. Your other piece of advice here is the Page of Wands. This is a youthful, feminine energy. Again, messages are coming through in this reading as well. But a youthful, feminine energy, an inspired project, having enthusiasm for someone or something, or delivering a message, maybe a fiery, passionate one with enthusiasm. There may be a message that you need to send to a youthful, enthusiastic maybe fire sign or just fiery female. Maybe that's what you're stalling on, Aries. Maybe a message needs to be sent. I see all this rushed, passionate communication, or potential for it anyway. But then I also see you stalling. So maybe that is what you're stalling on. There's the potential that there's multiple romantic interests here. Maybe there's an earth energy and a fire energy. Now, maybe that's you and them. But also it could be two different interests of yours, and that could be why you're stalling. One of them is, I think in that case, a toxic addiction, and you're aware of that, or at least you were in the recent past. '77 may also be particularly significant to you at this time, Aries. Yeah, the toxic addiction that I'm talking about, the toxic attachment or unhealthy attachment, is something that you already realized in your recent past, and it was an attachment that was making you that you didn't find success with, and you've already decided that you feel like you need to just scrap it completely and start over. Also, some of you may be dealing with someone who's like two different people. How I said, you know, there may be two different love interests here. For others of you, you may have this one Queen of Pentacles love interest, but you know, and she's grounded and practical, like I said, and creative and nurturing, and a mother and a sometimes, or a teacher sometimes, and she can build her own business, and she can teach you how to build yours, and she will, and she wants to. But some of you know that there's an imbalance with this person. To where, you know, sometimes they're someone else. But like I said, again, so many different messages. It's definitely not for everyone. It's just one of many messages that happen to be coming through in this particular spread. And if that's the case, I think in the past things haven't been successful with this person. And if you're going to continue to move past, you know, the fact that you've acknowledged that the two of you did have a relationship that was toxic together, and now you're going to try to have a different type of one, then I think by the end of December, you know, you find yourself still needing to defend, like I said, your beliefs and the way that you think your relationship and partnership should be. There's still an imbalance, still an unequal give and take. And that would explain to me why, you know, in the near future, you're moving into this space of relief and healing, but simultaneously in your crowning thoughts, there's still anxiety. I think what it is in your crowning thoughts, you're aware that there's anxiety and insecurity and confusion, feeling lost just right below the surface. You're not far into that healing. The Nine of Swords is often relief at last. So you've got imbalance in the root of the situation, imbalance when you're ego is quiet on your mind, and then this sense of feeling lost and anxious coming up in your crowning thoughts in your future. It, you know, if you stay on the path that you're on now, and if these messages are for you, any of them. And, you know, I said I don't feel like that's the Queen of Pentacles energy. It may be an energy that you know, you're putting on someone. You may think that they're that way, and they're really not. For others of you, you are dealing with someone who's dealing with their own imbalance. Let's just get a clarification card on the Queen of Pentacles. She's right at the center of your reading, this earth energy. The High Priestess in reverse. So it very well may be a Taurus, a significant Taurus for a lot of you. And, you know, what I'm talking about is as simple as the fact that we all have a shadow side. And we all have shadow aspects that we haven't dealt with. So you may be interacting with this. I know I'm making the reading so much about them, but they are at the center of your reading now, and I do think you're dealing with someone else. And then we have the Traveler, or the Fool, on the bottom of the deck. Yeah, and then the Wheel right after that. It's like it's fated to be for you to interact with this person so that you both can deal with your shadow side. You're probably coming out of having realized that it was a toxic addiction, habit, pattern, an unhealthy attachment, or at least was becoming one, was presenting like one. You convinced yourself that's what it was. You're moving away from them, but it seems that you were meant to come together with them so that the two of you could deal with these shadow aspects. Certainly if it is specifically a Taurus that you're dealing with. And that could be why we're seeing this expedited progress. You know, it may not feel like expedited progress. It may not feel like success, but the two of you are playing out what you are meant to. You are helping each other in the way that you best can. You're helping one another grow and progress and evolve, even if it means, wading through some muck together in order to do so, or maybe apart. You may be, have to be apart to go through some of that. There is this advice to send a message, Aries, to communicate something that you're feeling excited about to someone else, something that you're feeling enthusiastic about, again, an inspired project, or something that you're feeling very passionate about, someone that you're feeling very passionate about. There's this encouragement to go ahead and send a message of that nature, or to someone that makes you feel those ways. Or to, if that's not an option, and if that doesn't sound appealing, maybe to focus on a project that makes you feel enthusiastic and inspired, instead of focusing on this Queen of Pentacles, who is at the center of your reading here. And I want a clarification card on the Two of Pentacles as well. And then we will wrap this up. It's way too long. Let's see. Yeah, for some of you, you're needing to move away from this individual, at least for a time, because the imbalance actually resulted in some type of emotional, mental abuse, or abuse of some sort for you. And I'm talking about those of you who are dealing with a partner who's been secretive, and that has clearly been dealing with some type of emotional and or mental imbalance of their own that's led you to the situation you're in now, to the reading that you're watching right now. And for those of you that have that imbalance on your mind now, both the imbalance you see in them and the way that translates into your own life and relationship with them, you're needing to get away from that person for a time. Abuse is abuse, mental, emotional, or otherwise. Abuse is abuse. And for some of you, you know that that's the case, that this is an imbalance that's gone way too far. Now, this is on a spectrum, right? For others of you, you're all the way down at the end of the spectrum where you're just, as I said, dealing with your shadow aspects together and or apart, and we all have those, and we all have some to deal with. But for those of you who are dealing with someone whose shadow aspects have turned out to be downright harmful and abusive in a way that you can no longer deny or ignore, you definitely need to pull away from this person. Yeah, at least for a time. And keep in mind too that with Mars and Pisces and coming out of this full moon in Gem, there is a lot of uncertainty and confusion. So don't convince yourself at this time of things that you don't know are true either. Allow the precise and impartial truth to cut away the untrue. What do you know for certain? What are you sure of? Rather than making guesses and filling in gaps about things that are unclear. In that way, you can cause yourself some unnecessary anxiety and insecurity. Whereas you're really definitely in a space where you're ready for and deserving to move away from that. And you know, I kept talking about the give and take that I was seeing. Someone that you know you have an equal, healthy give and take with, probably a friend, a close friend or family member. I think that's who you're being encouraged to send this message to, because your advice is saying, you know, you are in need of support. You need to seek support, seek good vibes, seek help that is probably very near you and right around you, and you're just not seeing, or you're ignoring it for some reason. And it's a give and take. Any relationship or friendship, if you're wanting that support, you're wanting to get a message from these people, send them a message. Say something to someone that you think you can have a good give and take with, or you've proven to have a good give and take with in the past. Maybe a good literal back and forth banter with, that's fun, that's satisfying to communicate with. Message this person, message someone like that. You're seeking support, you need it, you have to give it to get it. See how someone else is doing, reach out, right? That's just what's coming through here as advice. And it may be because I may be pushed to put that message at the end, because this is someone who can help with your love life situation currently. And I'm not advising you to specifically seek out someone who knows this Queen of Pentacles person character for you well, or whomever you're involved with. I'm just saying, you know, it may result in you then being able to have a conversation with someone who turns out can offer you specific insight on your specific situation. Not that I can't do that if you would like a reading, but especially if it's someone who knows you and knows that person and knows your relationship. They may have some hidden wisdom for you, is what I'm feeling. Like, it's not someone that you would necessarily expect that you could go to for romantic advice, but turns out they've been through something similar. Probably someone, maybe a Pisces, or just someone with that type of energy, someone who's navigating this energy with Mars and Pisces a little bit better than you are, because they are naturally prone to daydreams and fantasies and flights of fancy, just following and focusing on their whims, and just sort of, you know, have their head in the cloud, and their head in the clouds, and they might be a little timid or shy, probably, you know, a poetic type of person. Yeah. But again, it's also just another page showing up, just more messages, messages, messages. Yeah, a lot of you are just avoiding pulling away from someone that you know you need to pull away from, again, at least for a time, because it will feel like a heartbreak and it will feel like a fight. But really, that's how you move out of this energy of lack and loss, and that's how you gain something. Wisdom, lessons, opportunities, new paths, new perspectives on this person and you and relationships and where you've been and what has really happened. And it's then and there in that space that you're given the gift of having the time and energy to focus on the work you love to do in the world, what you want to create and add to the world, work that you love doing so much you don't notice the time passing. But before you get to that freed up energy and time, again, there's heartbreak, there's fights, and not for all of you. You aren't facing that, but for those of you, Aries, who do need to pull away from someone for at least a time, it's like you're avoiding it because it's going to be hard to get to the other side. In any case, I think that pretty much sums things up for us, Aries. I think I pulled enough from the Paulina Cassidy tarot deck that will just be what we did instead of the Dreams of Gaia again. I'm sorry almost that it's so long, but thank you for those of you who stuck with me, and thank you as well for your messages and emails, your comments, your shares. I really appreciate the likes and subscribes. Of course, if you haven't, thank you for your orders and donations. I truly appreciate each and every one of our energy exchanges here. Thank you so very much. As far as free readings are concerned, I can't wait to return to those. I'm just about all caught up, finally, at long last, and at the beginning of next year, in the first half of next year, certainly, I will definitely start doing free readings in some form again. In the meantime, a few have asked me about a cheaper option, since I don't have the free readings available right now. Most of my options, my reading options, are pre-recorded video options. But if you are interested in a private reading with me, just scroll down to the description and you will see that one of the options, the last one listed, is very cheap. It's only $15 for up to 3 questions. It's not a pre-recorded video. It's just an email. You get a snapshot of the cards. But that's a great way to get answers to questions, and normally a lot quicker too. So that's the answer to the cheapest option I have for you. Again, free readings are back as soon as I can get to that point. Otherwise, let me just check, make sure I'm not forgetting to tell you all anything. No, I think that's everything. You can email me at LunarticksTarot@gmail.com, of course. And I love you very much, Aries, and I will post another reading for you as soon as I can.